What is up, my winning friend? My name is Zach, and I am very excited to be here today to talk with you about public speaking. And thank you, Sim, for having me on. I've been following your channel now for almost a year, and I've been dying to hop on your channel. Love what you're doing with the body-mind empowerment.
My name's Zachary Babcock, and I'm the Conscious Convict. I spent over 5 years of my life in prison. After successfully re-engaging with society, I've learned to adapt to any environment. Using stories of unique experiences and overcoming great adversity, I help people across the globe. Everyone from convicts to corporations. I have one goal, and it is simple. Be the best motivational speaker ever. And I'm ready.
So I got involved with a club that you may or may not be familiar with called Toastmasters International. They're all over the world. A great, fantastic place for you to go and build your public speaking skills. What you're going to learn by becoming a professional speaker is going to help you in your day-to-day interactions, speaking on camera, talking to other smaller groups. It's just a great way to develop your communication skills and your public speaking presence. So definitely a good place to do that. Now, let's get into the really good stuff.
My father died when I was 7, and I was raised by my mother. And every single day, for as long as I can remember, she would always tell me you could do anything you put your mind to.
One of the most effective tips that I find useful when I'm giving presentations is to just be myself. Yeah, I like to organize my speech, but I don't write out the entire speech. What I like to do, I like to make bullet points. Just 1 or 2 word things that I know what it means and I can sit here and talk about so it comes out naturally, so it's not like I'm reading off a script. And you always want to have a very strong opening and, even more importantly, a very strong closing.
Now, some of you might be stuck in your own prison. Mine was a physical one. Yours might be up here. It might be mental.
You're going to want to make your message very clear, and you want to follow it with good supporting material, so that way you have a very clear and concise message for the audience to consume, and you get your point across very clearly to them.
I was getting ready to miss my children being born. I made a decision right here that I was going to rebuild my life right at rock bottom.
Then, as you make transitions, you're going to want to be able to do it very smoothly and fluently so the audience can follow along without getting lost wondering, what the heck is he even talking about? Guys, when you are doing your speeches, get to the point. You don't have to come out with a corny joke that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. Get straight into the point. Your general purpose is going to fall into one of 4 different categories, or maybe a combination of a few, which is to entertain, to inspire, to inform, or to persuade people. What it is exactly that your general purpose is of your speech. What are you trying to do? What is the purpose? What action are you trying to get the audience to take at the end? Your body language does most of the presentation for you. How you move, how you use your hand gestures, the way you use them. You're going to want to get good at using the correct body gestures as you're doing your speech. And they don't have to be mechanical. You don't have to seriously think them out. After you practice them over time, they'll start becoming naturally. And a good example is if you're pointing at people, that's probably not a good thing to do during your presentation. People get offended when you point at them. What I like to do if I'm trying to point something out, palm up and point towards that person, because when you have the palm up, that is an innocent, a non-threatening gesture to people. Also, when you make your power statements, you're going to want to steeple just like this. That shows authority, that shows confidence, that shows that you know what you're talking about. Maybe if you're trying to just get somebody to kind of grasp the idea or hone in what you're saying, this gesture right here is a good way to kind of pinpoint what you're talking about and get people to draw them in to listen.
What I had were 2 mouths to feed, a bunch of bills to pay, and a burning desire to be successful that catapulted me into taking massive action.
I am the one, the way your son don't need a gun to get respect up on the street.
Your movement while you're talking is very huge. People are going to pay attention to your body language, the vibes that you're putting off, your facial expressions. You want to show them if you're talking about something that's sad, show it. People connect with emotions. We are not creatures of logic. We are creatures of emotion. We are tied to the story, to the emotion behind it. So when you show that emotion through your body movements, it resonates with the audience much more, makes your presentation far more effective. Now it's time to consider your voice velocity, your voice variety, as I like to say it. So if you're just sitting there talking in a mundane voice and you're just going on your presentation, you just keep talking like this, more than likely people are going to fall asleep. But if you like to raise up the tone of your voice and the speed very often, it's going to draw people in when you're just constantly switching it up. Because nobody really wants to listen to somebody that's just like this all the time. But if you're constantly switching it up, it's more easy to hold somebody's attention that way. And if you really want to get somebody's attention, drop your voice down real low like this, because it's like you're telling a secret and everybody is curious and wants to know secrets. So it's a great way to kind of switch up the speed and the tone of your voice to keep people engaged into your speech. That's why they're not drifting off and falling asleep in the crowd. Also, you're always going to want to talk about something that you're very passionate about. Your topic should be something that you're genuinely passionate about, because if you're not passionate about it, if you don't care about the topic that you're talking, your audience isn't going to care what you're talking about because you don't have any fire behind it. So be passionate about the things that you talk about. And another thing to really consider and to really do, if you're going to do it, is to research the topic thoroughly. From your own personal experience, you have the internet at your fingertips. Go and look at all the articles that you can find on it. Consume everything you can that you're talking about in your topic. That way you can just let it flow when you're on stage. You are the expert in that, and it just comes naturally at that point, and people will be compelled to listen to you when they know you know what you're talking about and you're passionate behind it.
Your mind is the key to unleashing the chains that bind you.
Last but not least, you're going to want to get comfortable with using visual aids. It just helps people understand you more when you're using visual aids to get your message across. And for example purposes, I'm just going to go off the fly here. Wouldn't it be very nice to just be able to travel into someone's mind, some of the great thought leaders of our time and time before us, to know exactly the steps that they took, what they're thinking, and learn through their experiences? Well, some of the great thought leaders of all of our time pour all that out here in these books that we have at our disposal. You can go and learn from all the mistakes and from all the triumphs of some of the most successful people in the world by reading what they share in these books. It's like taking a travel within their own mind. Now that was just on the fly, off the cuff. You kind of get what I'm saying. Using that visual aid helps you connect the story to what the point you're trying to get to in the story, and helps you resonate more with the audience.
Free yourself.
I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you start implementing some of these steps, and I'd love to hear about it. I am so happy to be here once again. Sim, you are the man, and I love this community here because I know what this channel is about, and I know what it's done for me personally. Very happy to be here. Thank you for having me on, Sim. Everybody on here, keep on winning. See you next time.
For more tips on public speaking, visit the website in the description box below.